So PreSonus have a whole new range of speakers, 3 new models, and you may well be asking, which is the one for me? Well, Lee Boyland from PreSonus is here to demystify this. And in this video, he's going to go through the 3 new ranges, and you're going to find out who they're for, what they each do, and hopefully find the right one for you. So Lee, what is the 3 new ranges? What are they?
Yeah, so 3 ranges. 2 of the ranges are kind of a refresh on previous model PreSonus speakers. So to start with, we have our Eris media reference monitors. So you may have been familiar before with the Eris 3.5 or some of the Bluetooth range of speakers that we do. So we've done a bit of a refresh on those guys. So we have a 3.5 Bluetooth, there's a 4.5 and a 5 Bluetooth.
And who are they for? I should actually preface this. I actually bought my in-laws a set of 3.5s back in the day.
It's probably one of our most popular products. I think everyone's got a set of 3.5s at this stage. Who are they for is the entry-level guy who's working in the bedroom recording, tracking, mixing, but also video editing. Gamers, content creators seem to lean towards the media reference speakers, we call them.
Can you sum up the sort of what you get in that? What do they do?
So for the new range, we pretty much have Bluetooth on all of them except the 3.5, the very entry level one. You get a headphone amp, you get some EQ on the back as well, so you can set up your speakers. And they're really nice and loud and clear. We're kind of known for having nice, accurate sounding speakers instead of kind of hyped. Sometimes you can get speakers that you may want that, it's kind of hyped in the bass range or something, and you want your music to sound larger than life. We kind of design speakers for accuracy so that you know what you're listening to is going to be, or what you're mixing is going to be what somebody else hears, basically. You
do obviously have the tilt controls though, so you can add bass, right? I mean, is that what it's for? Is it?
Yeah. So, when you set up a set of speakers, I know you know this, in a different room, they can kind of hype different frequencies. So some rooms might add the perception of more bass coming from your speakers. So you need to be able to have some sort of adjustment to trim that back to suit your room.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we have added EQ to our speakers. But it means you can set up your speakers, let's say they're in the corner or something like this, you might get more bass rejection from the back of the speaker. So now you can kind of dial that back a little bit from your speakers.
So accuracy, as you said.
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for, is accuracy, quality, longevity as well. So the speakers over time, they don't wear out in terms of getting saggy on the low end, because we've got a composite weave mid-range cone on all of the Eris speakers. So over time, you'll get great transients and bass response and accuracy in the low mids.
Throughout its life.
Yeah, exactly, over time. So it won't tend to sag as it gets old.
So that was kind of the entry level. What was that called again? That range is called?
So we call them Eris media reference monitors.
Media reference monitors.
Well, I should mention as well, with the Eris media reference stuff, you've got a speaker which has the built-in amplifier on one side, and this, you spin around, and this links across then to a passive speaker.
Yeah.
So that's when you know you've got a media reference version. It's got all of your settings in one speaker, and it links to the passive speaker.
And so there's a few different versions of this, different sizes.
So 3.5, and then we have a 3.5 Bluetooth. So the option with or without.
Okay, right.
I should mention, with all of the Bluetooth speakers, you can connect obviously your Bluetooth device directly to it, but also you can just connect your analog inputs like your jacks, like you normally would for any speaker.
Jacks and RCA.
Yeah, exactly. You got both. So you have the option for Bluetooth or RCA. And in this range as well, we have the Eris Sub 8. So we released this maybe a year and a half ago. It's an affordable sub. And what we've done is a refresh on this and added Bluetooth. Okay. So it works out really great as a sub where you can send your music to and then link that to your tops. So it kind of becomes your Bluetooth hub. In general, the refresh also involves kind of an aesthetic update and a nice new power light on the front. You've got a little blue power light on the front, but also standby mode. So if you leave your speakers on there for 40 minutes, I think it is, and they'll switch off. So we didn't have that. With no
sound passing through, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Not just I'll turn off after 40 minutes.
Yeah, in mid-mix, they just shut down.
Yeah, cool.
You're saving the environment, though.
No, that is true. So hang on, so you've got like a basic model. There's a slightly larger media reference one, did you say? Yeah,
so the biggest one is a 5.
And what is the difference? Is it bass response or volume?
Yeah, bass response.
Okay.
They're all 25 watts per side, so it's 50-watt speakers. So they're all kind of loud. But obviously, the bigger you go in size of the mid-range woofer, you go lower frequency.
Do you know the lowest frequency off the top of your head?
I think it's 50 hertz for the 5.
We can put it on screen, right? But so if you get a slightly larger speaker, the idea is you get lower bass response. But as you're saying, you could always add a sub later if you wished.
Yeah, exactly. If you use something like a 3.5, I think that only goes down to like 80 hertz.
Okay.
So it's still probably enough, to be honest, for your mixing. But if you do add the sub, it's obviously going to add this really lovely full range experience.
Okay.
For not too much money as well is the main thing.
Okay.
All of these speakers are very affordable for what you're getting in terms of quality and accuracy.
So you're getting a pretty accurate, friendly, useful monitor, can be used for like home media use, can also be used for production stuff as well.
Yeah.
That is the intention.
And again, it's targeted at the kind of entry to mid-level guys. But you might see some studios that will have these as a set of B speakers. So they may have their very expensive speakers to do their full mix, but they want to check on other speakers as well. So they're perfect for that type of thing as well. With the Bluetooth as well, you can quickly throw up mixes to reference against from your phone or from your computer. So
yeah, my understanding is like no matter what speaker you have, the main thing is that you are familiar with it. Like, so therefore playing music that you know and love and just using it as a sort of way of playing music is an essential part of this, because that's how you learn what they sound like, in your room, of course.
Exactly.
Which is, no speaker is going to sound exactly the same in two different places.
Yeah, and you have to learn your speaker as well,
Yeah.
and get it to suit your room, like we mentioned earlier. So that's, again, leaning back to the fact that you can tweak the bass and the treble. It allows you to learn your speaker and then set it up for your room.
Seems good. Now, studio, is that what, like the studio range? What is this sort of mid-level one?
So these are called the Eris Studio series. And you'll recognize these by the kind of oval shape, elliptical kind of shape for the waveguide for the high frequencies. And these are targeted more for the price range allows for the entry-level guy, but they are targeted more for the mid-level to pro guy as well.
I suppose why?
So what you do get with these is you get an individual amplifier in each speaker. So one of the small drawbacks with the media reference stuff is that you've got a passive speaker in one location, you've got an amplifier in one. If you want to tweak the EQ for this main speaker, it affects both.
Okay.
So you can't really dial it in a specific location. But now with the Studio series, you've got individual controls, individual amplifiers on each speaker. So you can really dial in your speaker for accuracy in your room and its location.
Okay. And feature-wise, what's the distinction? Obviously, what is the waveguide doing, I suppose, is the first thing.
Yeah, so the waveguide really gives you a wider sweet spot for mixing. So, as you move around your speakers when you're mixing, you might lean over to change something or adjust something on the left or right. It tends to put you out of the earshot of your mix. With this wider mix position that we offer with the Studio series, it keeps you kind of in the mix. So there's a 100-degree horizontal dispersion for the Studio series. These have large porting as well, so really great bass response. And again, the same design concept of the composite weave mid-range. So again, you're getting that accuracy, and over time your transients stay good and your tight bass response.
What is the bass response of? Is there a 4 and a 5?
There is a 4 and a 5. I'll have to check the bass response.
Yeah, we can put that on the screen.
I'll be half guessing that one.
Yeah, no,
I
for
can
sure.
take a shot at it.
But presumably there will be lower bass response than the equivalent media reference.
Yeah. Again, as you go bigger in size, so you've got a Studio 4, you've got a Studio 5, and an 8.
Okay.
8-inch.
Oh yeah. You've got an 8 Studio as well.
Yeah, Studio 8.
I remember the Eris E8s were always fairly immense in terms of their bass response.
Exactly.
A lot of fun.
I'm gonna say that goes down to 30 hertz.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's kind of like...
Well, maybe corrected on that, but I'm really sorry.
Okay, well, we will...
That's the Studio 8. Putting
you on the spot, but we'll put it on screen. But yeah, no, that's really good. That's like quite serious bass response. And is there a difference between it being front or rear ported? Does that make a difference in terms of the practical, the bass response or the accuracy of it? Yeah,
well, with studio monitors, I suppose any speaker, but in studio monitors, they tend to be against the wall or in a corner if you haven't got a big, massive professional room. And if it's rear ported, you get a lot of bass rejection naturally from a speaker. If it's rear ported, that kind of adds to it. So you're avoiding the buildup of bass behind the speaker, which comes back at you, and then you perceive you've got lots of bass.
Yeah.
What you'll do is you'll mix out the bass in your mix. When you transfer it to something else, it's got no bass.
Yeah.
So front porting kind of is the benefits of that is shooting into the room.
You do get the lower bass response, but you're saying, or what I'm hearing is it's more accurate, it's more controllable, and because it's not backfiring against the wall. It doesn't
Yeah.
create this build-up of
Exactly.
artificial bass that
Exactly.
only exists in your room.
Yeah, it's more
Not-
accurate bass. It's what you're really hearing as opposed to this build-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the studios seem like you're kind of quote unquote pro monitor, but then there's this third monitor that we don't have here, but they're here as part of the range. These are like prototype speakers, obviously. So
Yeah.
tell me about what is this third?
Yeah, so the media reference guys and the studio series are kind of a refresh, but we also have this brand new range called the Eris Pro. So they're brand new and they're actually just been in production at the moment. So we tried to get some here. They didn't quite arrive, but Eris Pro is probably on screen here now. And you've got a 6-inch and an 8-inch, and it's a coaxial design. So with the coax design, you've got your high frequency driver and your mid-range all in one location. So what this gives you, again, feeds back into the sweet spot for mixing. So you've got a symmetrical mix pattern. Kind of traditional construction speaker, as you move around, your high frequency and your mid-range is kind of in different locations in relation to your head. But with a coax speaker, everything's coming from one point source.
Yeah.
So your high frequencies, your mids are always staying symmetrical as you move around the speaker. It's not a brand new design. It's been out since the 70s with different companies, but we've worked hard on this speaker to get it to sound really, really good. And in listening tests myself using it, there's great separation between your frequencies. So you can really kind of hear the depth in your mix and start to work on different frequency ranges. But a really nice, attractive part of it is for Atmos, because I know a lot of people are moving to Atmos these days. For the price range and the quality, you can get an Atmos setup, which can be up to, 714, it's a lot of speakers. And for the Eris Pro, it's perfect because the coax thing obviously leans towards nice, accurate, different locations of sound coming towards you. But they've also got mounting points on the side of the Eris Pro.
Okay.
So, a lot of Atmos speakers will be ceiling mounted or rear mounted on walls and stuff like that. So you've got the option to properly mount the Eris Pros.
So for sort of practicality of that and cost and the fact it's a point source monitor, for I suppose if I'm a studio person, which I tend to be when I'm not filming videos, so should I get the studio or should I get the coax speaker? Which should I be looking at? What is, kind of help me understand who each of them is for?
I suppose, the coax thing isn't just for Atmos. Obviously, that's a stereo set of speakers. They work perfectly. And we've previously done coax speakers with the Scepters. I think you have a pair. But I think it's down to taste, really, as well. The thing I mentioned there before about listening to the coax speakers, I found like real separation within the different frequency bands. But it's very accurate listening. It's not going to smooth things over for you, Okay. Sometimes you may want to mix on something that kind of gives you more a general blended sound. I know the guys worked hard on revoicing these speakers as well to get the crossover points to sound smooth.
Yeah.
To get the low frequencies to sound even more accurate and tight. But I think it's just two different styles of mixing.
Okay.
Would be my take, yeah.
So can you sum up, we've got 3 different families. In a nutshell, what have we learned? What are the differences and who are they for?
Yeah. Eris media reference stuff, again, is could be video editing, could be gaming, great for gaming with a sub. Pair 3.5s with a sub sounds awesome. Again, this sub is very, very affordable, but do try to get a listen. It's really impressive. Sounds really, really loud. But for gamers, video editing, content creators, all that sort of stuff, the 3.5 is perfect. I have a pair of 4.5 BTs in my house, so I have them under a counter. And I just send my music to them. I can't even see them, but they sound big. They sound great, Right up to the studio mixing and tracking, You could maybe a mobile recording setup. You could have a set of these with you all the time. I know somebody who takes these on tour. I'm not allowed to mention who they are.
Yeah, okay.
But they have them in their bedroom to listen back to recorded shows. So, that it's not too expensive, but it is an accurate representation of what you're working on for not too much money.
It's not what you would call, quote unquote, your traditional sort of high street speaker, as it were. This is from a company that make monitors.
Exactly. And, regardless of the price, we're trying to give you something that you can actually use on your productions. So that covers a lot of bases. I know you're asking, what is it exactly for? But I would say because of its size, its footprint, and its cost, definitely the entry-level guy the guy working at home or the guy on tour who maybe wants to set up a pair of these to work in a hotel room.
Yeah.
Perfect. So then the Eris Studio. Again, the Eris Studio 4 is a new speaker we brought out in that range as well in terms of size. So before we had the Eris XT range, which were quite similar, but this is a refresh of, and we didn't have a 4-inch version. We used to have a 7-inch version, which we've moved away from. So now you've got a Studio 4, Studio 5, and Studio 8. But with the Studio 4 in particular, it's a really great way to kind of move up from the media reference stuff for not too much money. You're getting in the Studio 4 a speaker that's got individual amplifiers, individual settings on the back, tuning. You've also got this acoustic space setting on the back as well, which allows you to cut frequencies by 2 dB or 4 dB in the low range. So that, again, cuts away that low range buildup from bass rejection.
Okay.
So I would say the Studio 4 is the guy who's moving up from the media reference thing, doesn't want to get into too much money, but wants the options to be able to tweak their monitors for different locations
as
in
they
the
should.
studio. So you're just getting a little bit more accurate with the Studio series. And then, as you said, right up to the 8-inch is a great solution for somebody who doesn't want to use a sub, but wants to like get really low. And then you've got the Pro series. So again, I think they may be really popular for Atmos, but a really high-end, very, very accurate speaker for mid to pro guys. So you might see them in studios. Could have them in a project studio, could be in a professional studio.
I remember reading that, like with point source monitors, one of the benefits is you can have them a little bit closer and kind of work in a smaller environment because you don't have that need for the distance for the high and the mid to like mix. I don't know if that'll mingle. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with if you get too big size speakers for your small room, you actually don't hear the bass because the bass happens behind you somewhere. Right. Yeah, but you know, so yeah, like you said, the smaller stuff. Sometimes you'll see a bigger speaker, you think that's the better one to get. But if you've got a smaller mix room, you actually should get a smaller thing because the frequencies are all happening just in your space. The size of a wave for bass frequencies is 10, 15 foot. It could be happening in the next room. That's where your neighbors are complaining.
You're going to hear about it if it is as well. Yeah. Well, Lee, thank you. I hope that's helped sort of demystify. There's obviously a lot to this. Like, it's not a simple thing. And it sounds like there is some crossover. It sounds like really you could do good stuff. I mean, I know you can do good stuff with any speaker that you know. So
yeah, I think it's to do with price, but also to do with what you need in terms of setting up speakers in your room. You know, do you need a bigger speaker for a bigger room?
Big space.
Do you need something small? Do you have a room that's got a corner here, but it's open here? So you'll need separate tuning features on your speakers. So
good
those
tip.
decisions.
Yeah, wicked. Well, yeah, Lee, thank you so much. Thanks for explaining it.
Cheers.
Links below, by the way, obviously to the new range of monitors from PreSonus. Questions, if you have them, please ask in the comments and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.